You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
From what I understand, his father passed away, and he would have pictures of him in his locker. Some students thought it would be a good idea to rip down those pictures and harass him and bully him for missing and loving his father.
Going through what I went through, you kind of keep to yourself. You don't know who you are or anything. You're just walking through the space, empty space. It's kind of like a puzzle. You're trying to find your way to the good things in life.
No one wants to be bullied. Everyone wants to feel like they mean something to somebody.
It's definitely a hard 4 years of your life, you know?
Even like a few words can affect someone so negatively.
I'd sit in the cafeteria alone. I wouldn't talk to anyone. Even if people invited me to sit with them, I didn't feel this was my place to be, you know?
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, a strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
And welcome to me. It's iWalter on Saturday night. It's 8 o'clock now. I started before, but I was kind of screwing with my levels. I'm trying to make them not so loud that they go off when you listen on your radio or wherever you listen them to. Again, if I did not say it, it's Saturday, August 22nd, 2015. It's a little weaker than I normally do, but that's probably not a bad idea. I was trying the two mics on the new system. Obviously, USB is not the way to go. You actually do need a mixing board. I played this part in the beginning about bullying because I told my friend Matt, this is dedicated to my one friend Matt Torrance, who asked me a question. And he was asking me, how exactly do people treat you at work where I feel like I'm being mistreated? And it's like, well, that's not really a problem, believe it or not. So I had to think about it a little bit, even so. Even though I just said that it's not hard to explain, I needed to basically to say, okay, how do I explain this to somebody that, yes, I am being, I looked it up, so I got this thing about bullying, and it's exactly the way I feel I'm being treated, but that's not answering Matt's question. That's why this show is going to be dedicated to that. I'm trying to answer his question. It's a Saturday, it's a weekend too. So I really don't want to spend all my time, with other nonsense. The nonsense tonight is going to be about me trying to explain myself, and hopefully people can hear me. Again, because I usually have my levels, and I just don't touch them for the longest time. And then, this was a big change on the hardware. So obviously I'm going to fool with things, and unfortunately I should have not done so. So I want to see, because I might have some stories. I seriously doubt it. Again, I got this movie in the mail, by the way, before I get into this. It was called Clown, and it's by Eli Roth. You can't buy it in the U.S., and this one woman said on one of these horror websites I always find sources of information from, she said, oh, yeah, that movie kind of like really creeped her out, apparently. It was like, okay, that's all I needed to hear. I'm going to have to look for this film. I was actually desperate enough to try to download it the illegal way, but you can't even get it that way. The movie doesn't even exist otherwise. So I don't know what the deal was, but I found it. This is like third time recently. I bought something from England, the UK, and it was really easy to find, and it wasn't that expensive. Now, I bought that VCR or DVD Blu-ray player a while back, and it actually does play Region 2 and everything. It doesn't play U.S. DVDs, but it plays every other country. So I basically almost at this point, because that's all I really ever buy, is I have a UK that plays in the United States Blu-ray player. So, hey, that's fine because I got a lot of Blu-rays, DVDs, from over the UK. So I didn't like them just to sit there. What if I ever want to watch them? I'm going to have a way of doing so. So that was the reason I decided to go that direction and get this. So, but the thing was, I also bought, I think last year I bought a couple Howard Stern videotapes. And it was like, and it's unfortunate because I had all these Doctor Who videotapes. I just basically gave them all away. I think I sold them all or gave them away just because, and some of them were like special limited edition stuff, had extra stuff put inside the tapes, like paraphernalia, like cards and things like that, collectible cards. And I was like, well, I don't have the room and I'm never going to be able to play them. I got rid of my DVD, now I'm saying DVD, my VCR. So I was like looking around. I bought one for my parents, my mom. She has this exercise tape, which she really doesn't use, but she says, oh, if I was able to play this videotape, I would get off the couch and actually, do some exercise, which really didn't work that well. So it was like, okay, so I could play these Stern tapes in our main room of the house, but then I'd have to deal with them watching it with me, and I really didn't want that. So, and VCRs are hard to find, and it's actually harder to find one that is actually in really good shape. So, lo and behold, I looked around. This one was a little scratched, but it was like not that bad. The price, I think it was even free shipping. And I got it today in the mail. It was a big box. It was like, it didn't come with a remote control, but I got this Logitech universal remote, which you basically just plug into your computer. You basically tell it what device you're trying to put into your wireless controller, and it sets it up. It has all the information on its database with Logitech. So I've done that, believe it or not, with my cable box is on there, my TV set, my Xbox, my stereo, anything I have like, now I have 5 devices that actually just work off this one universal remote, and it works perfect. So I was a little leery about this VCR. It's like, I hope this works. I'm taking a chance. It was really nice. It was a special edition from Sony, and it was a 6-head VCR, which is really unheard of. Generally, most of them were 4 heads is the most you could get. I think 6 heads, though, by the way, meant that it was it would play things in stereo. I'm not sure what the extra 2 heads were for, but I think that's what it was. Anyway, yeah, I was lo and behold, I got it. I hooked it up. I just had standard cables, and I was afraid I know I have them somewhere. I actually have which are better coated, RCA cables. I don't even know what I did with them. So I just put a basic pair of standard cables on there, pulled out a videotape, which I got the other day. One I got for $3. It was Butt Bongo Fiesta from Stern, and it came with the 3D glasses. I pushed it in, and it was like, wow, this looks really good because it upscaled to my 42-inch set. And even with those cheesy, crappy standard RCA cables, it looks really good. The tracking was a little off because it was a used tape. I could have bought it brand new. I told a friend for like $16. It was like, well, I don't even know if I want to waste that kind of money on this tape. I don't even know if I'm going to ever watch it again. I don't know how good it is. Do you really want to buy, Stern's videotape? I want to see what it is on eBay, brand new for $16. But it was like, nah, not really. And it was like $3, I'll go for it. I think it even had free shipping with that. So let me see. Just put in Howard Stern tapes. Howard Stern tape. Because Butt Bongo, yeah, there's like factory seal tape. Yeah, that's like $50. And that was for both two of his other ones. But Butt Bongo Fiesta, generally, and it comes with 3D glass, which honestly looked like a ripoff at first. I didn't think it was going to be that good, but it was actually really impressed. I was really impressed. It was very impressive that it's got one black lens and one clear one, and it works phenomenal. It looks better than some of the 3D you see in the freaking movies nowadays. So I was really shocked, but it came with the 3D glasses. It was Butt Bongo Fiesta. Butt Bongo Fiesta VHS tape, brand new, rare, sealed. It was more like 37. 37 in a row? So it is really hard to get. Brand new shrunk wrap 35. Yeah, I'm not going to spend that kind of money on Stern's tape. I'm sorry. I was actually tempted to pick up his Crucified by the FCC as well. But I actually wanted that on CD, but that's really hard to find. Yeah, I'm watching one. It's 0 bids, $8. I'd probably pick it up just to listen to it in my car. That's from New York too. It's actually in really good shape. Some of that stuff is, you look at it, like I watched it with my dad. I know I'm going off on a stray. I haven't got to the main point yet. I was watching it with like my dad. And he was like saying, God, he got away with a lot of stuff even back then. This was back in 92, by the way, I think, if I remember correctly. And it was like, So the only problem was buying it so cheap. I don't know if I need to get a head cleaner, but I don't think that's the problem. It was a tracking issue, which means that's more of the tape. It was like... it was a little off on the track, but the video looked really good. It upscaled it perfectly fine. It looked good. I'm just looking at the prices again on the Stern tapes. It's really not worth it. Some are in better shape than others. Again, you could probably get it brand new, but it's like anywhere between $3 to $10 used. And I remember when Stern made all this stuff, he swore like, "Oh, this stuff's going to be worth money if you collect it," and it was like. No, and even friends said back in the day, they said, the only way it's going to be worth anything is after he's dead. I'm sorry. I mean, that's horrible to say. I don't wish that upon the man because he is really entertaining. But that was funny. I mean, some of the stuff you see on there, old school people, especially that guy Daniel Carver with the stuff he used to say was just phenomenal. But it was definitely good. I'm going to have to watch the other tapes with my friends, like my friend Matt and Todd, who are big Stern fans, or maybe not Matt any longer, but Stern, Todd generally is. So, and this stuff's fun to watch. That was old Stern. And my friend, by the way, maybe I am going to have to go off on a little sidetrack right away, because my friend Todd sent me an article, and I was kind of wondering that too, but why Stern is so he's not the man he used to be. He's like really toned down, and they blame it on this woman from Sirius, and quote unquote they said it's a hot redhead. Now I'm like trying to look for the article because I know he just posted on my page, and now I can't even fucking find it. It's on my Facebook page, or at least I thought it was. Well, I can find it again in a heartbeat because I know, I might have to do that. So sorry about this. Let me try to look for this. I know it's here somewhere. Oh, okay. It's on page. It's on a web link called page6.com. I don't think it's the same one a friend sent me. By Richard Johnson. The woman responsible for Howard Stern's PC behavior. Because he was never like that years ago. I mean, you're talking back in 92, that's almost like 23 years ago, I guess. And it says Howard Stern became politically correct, and the woman getting the credit or the blame for taming the shock jock isn't his wife, Beth, but it's actually as the old whack pack has disappeared and the loyal staffers have been booted, the woman being called the Yoko Ono of Stern is the chief operator officer of the Stern channel on Sirius XM. It looks like Marcy Turk. And if you look at her, she is not bad looking. They called her the hot redhead. And she is pretty, very attractive. But yes, he has really toned down quite a bit. So that's what kind of makes you wish for the old stuff, like the Channel 9 show was excellent. And some other things. Now, I apologize to Matt when you listen to this. I don't mean to just avoid what I intended to make this show about, which was going to be dedicated towards you. I just got some other things I wanted to talk about. I'm hoping my levels are okay because I did turn them down quite a bit. So I just don't want it to sound, extremely, out of touch. And, I found a bunch of articles after I set my thing up because I'm kind of like upset why I didn't buy a brand new Mac. I'm not going to pay 10 grand, 12 grand though. But I'm looking at it and it was like they showed this picture of a collage between what was one of their other big inventions I'm talking about Apple, by the way, real quick. And the Apple Mac Cube, which was really cool. They really pushed that thing a lot. That was a Mac G4 at the time. And the new Mac that looks very similar in some ways, that they use that whole air induction thing. Or, like it cools itself. So this one article, I'm not going to really read it. It was by Gizmodo. .au, and it's the brilliant insanity behind the new Mac Pro's design. Well, they were kind of comparing it to what they tried to do with this Mac Cube years ago, and look where that got Apple. It got them nowhere. They don't exist anymore. Now, they were nice computers, but they kind of phased out. So then, that's why Mac actually went to a full tower case, because you could actually work on it. So what do? They go back to something that's probably going to last maybe a couple years, is what I'll give it. But I think after that whole idea of these black monolithic Apple computers that are supposed to be the wave of the future, I think that's going to fail. That's just my guess. It looks really cool. It looks really neat, but it's so fucking expensive. And you got to basically have all these external peripherals, hard drives. I'm like in this one, I thought they were kind of putting it down, but they weren't. They were actually saying, oh, it's cheaper than buying a PC, believe it or not, even at 12 grand, I guess. But it says Apple's new overpriced $10,000 Mac Pro is $2,000 cheaper than the equivalent Windows PC. And it's like, you know what? I hate to tell you, what are you smoking? Because I want to be on that same thing at this point. Because the Mac Pros I have two of them now, the cheese graters, those things are extremely upgradable. I mean, I have in my old one, which I have no use for, is a Blu-ray player. I could take it out. It's just it'd be more work and more of an effort. Did I really want to put into a machine? I'll probably barely use the Blu-ray player to burn anything. I did for a little bit. And at this point, I might as well just buy an external Blu-ray burner and do it that way if I really need one that badly. Because they're cheap enough. So they're proclaiming, because this one article says, last week, this was a while back. I don't know when this was dated. Last week, the new Mac Pro finally were on sale. So this is old. At $3,000 for the entry-level model and the max price of $9,600 for a customized top-of-the-line model with 12-core CPU. They're trying to say this is better than a PC. And it's like, again, I want to know what you're smoking because I want to get on it now, too. So anyway, the rest is nonsense, I guess, that I have. I'm going to just try to focus because I want to relax for my weekend and explain to Matt, finally, I will try to focus on this one thing this show was supposed to be about, and it's about being ostracized and harassed. Now, you're supposed to be a grown man. You should know better. I'm not saying Matt's saying this. I'm just saying in general. That's what probably people are thinking. So I found there's articles on, how it really physically affects a person who is being ostracized. Now, I initially started, I'm going to drink some iced tea right now, on bullying, and what I'm getting is considered bullying. Okay, I just took a swallow. There's a dead spot there now for about a couple of seconds. You're probably thinking now, bullying is affiliated with school peers, basically trying to become popular by harassing other kids. When, ones that are nerds. Well, I was a nerd. I was bullied all the time, but I'm getting the same thing at work now. I've had it for years. I've been at the same job for 13 years. And don't tell me that's not true. You can't get bullied at work. Yeah, you can. If you work at a place like I do, a factory job, these people have nothing else better to do. They're basically overgrown high school students that never grew up. Because you got people, you got the women who dress like I've said this before, street hookers, they're dressed to kill. They're there to just get laid. My dad used to tell me that. And these are married women. They're there. Not all of them are like that, but a lot of them are there just to see who they can have a sexual affair with that's not their husband. And don't tell me that's not true. I mean, the place I work at, they got in trouble before for hanging out at bars and stuff to the point that a bunch of people got fired for it. And a lot of times it was with the supervisors. So anyway, what I was going to tell you, I'm still not getting to the point. I know Matt's going to be very upset with me, so I apologize. And I did give him a heads up. I'm going to do the show dedicated to him. Yes, I looked up and I was like, wait a minute, this is exactly what's going on with me and how it's affected me. Let me finally answer your question. Well, these people had slowly just not even talked to me. Like the other day I asked them hey, you asked me, so you wrote me this piece of paper on a piece of paper, you needed this stuff, so these supplies for your area, your lab area. It was like, okay, but I can't find everything. So I went up to them face to face. I said, listen, I can't find this stuff. Oh, well, we're leaving right now. We can't talk to you. Bye. Or they just ignore me. That's really nice. Okay. And walk away like I'm not even there. That is fucking ignorant. And this is something they're going to push back on me that it's my fault why this whole thing escalated because of my fucking show complaining about them. It's like, well, you know what? If you don't give me any fuel for the fire, I'm not going to have a radio show to complain about with you. So number one, Matt, is it does just walk away and they say, oh, we got to go. It's late. We got to go. They just walk away. Months ago, they started moving, like we laid off so many people at my job that there is large sections of what used to be housed with, office people are now empty spaces. Literally, they're empty desks. So we got a whole slew of empty desks. So people started taking these people that are called lab technicians. They took over the desks. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take over one of the desks. So I asked one of my old bosses, I said, listen, I've seen that you moved your desk away from where you were at. And I said, can I have your old desk, your office desk? And he said, yeah, go right ahead. I don't care. It's a cubicle. So I put stuff in there, and to be a smart ass, I actually put up my college degree diploma. It's not my real one. The real one is at home in my living room here. So I made a whole pile of copies at Kinko's years ago. They actually let you do it. And they looked exactly like the real deal. They don't even look like Xerox copies. So I have one, I had in the frame. It kept on falling off the cubicle wall because, they're just padding and just like temporary things so they can clean out that section if they ever making something else in the building. And it fell so many times. I got the frame at IKEA that I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I threw the frame in the trash and I just basically thumbtacked up my Xerox copy of my college degree diploma. So, but, I go in there and exactly like the beginning of my show said, this kid said, people might invite me to eat with them. I don't even want to be bothered by them anymore. I just basically isolate myself eat by myself. I never go down to our break room. I really barely talk to anybody except unless I see them in the hallway or if I actually seek one or two people out that I know I can talk to who aren't going to walk away from me and just ignore me. So, and the thing is, it's funny, the people that are causing the most disruption in my life and the ones who are giving me the hardest time, they're on day shift. I'm on second shift. Their shift ends at 4:30. My shift starts at 4 o'clock. So I see them out of that half-hour span. I see them for no more than 5 minutes, and they act like I'm making their life a living hell. And now Matt's going to ask me, how do you do that? Well, they made it obvious because, again, I try to talk to them. I ask them some questions. Oh, that's really nice. And they ignore me and they walk away. Months ago, I emailed this one guy who you're supposed to order supplies off of. You're supposed to go to this guy and order supplies. I emailed him. He ignored me. He never emailed me back. He never even acknowledged me. And it's like, dude, you're a fucking asshole. And his wife had left him, or divorced him, and his kids wanted to kill the guy. And it's like, I can see why. Because you're an asshole. So how does that relate to what happens to me? When you email somebody and say, listen, I need this supplies, the last thing you're going to do is not respond when you're the person who's responsible for doing the ordering of things people need for the job. So, yes, that is a real issue there, too, folks. So that's one guy. The other people, and it's not one, it was actually a total of about 5, had moved out of the desk that surrounded mine, and they moved to the other end of this office space area. And it was very obvious, because you go up to them, they basically, I'm not even kidding, they hide. So, yes, it's basically a combination of being ostracized and just ignoring me. So I got to the point, I don't say one fucking word to him, and I'm saying this to Matt too, obviously, because he listens to me. I don't say a fucking word to these people. They just go out of their way to, like, okay, you need something, I'm communicating with you, so why are you fucking walking away from me when I'm talking to you, or say, oh, I don't have time right now. So, Matt, that is issue number 1, and issue number 2 is they just walked the other way. And for the last week and a half, I guess, from these shows, which probably got conversed back to them somehow from 1 or 2 people who listen to my show, I'm saying this to Matt too, they decided that we have these things, they're called musters. They're meetings before the beginning of one shift and the end of another. Well, the people who have, quote unquote, by my saying this, ostracize me, these are mandatory show-up meetings. The supervisors need you to attend these musters, because if you do not, they don't know what's going on. So guess what? When I'm there, they don't show up. They haven't showed up for almost a week now. At least 2 of the 5 days, they have not shown up once they know I'm clear and presently dangerous. Now, we know what I mean. I'm being sarcastic. When they know I'm there, they don't show up. But we have time clocks in my job. And guess what happens when the time cards are there for them to punch out? They are lined up like they're in nursery school, ready to go back in the building, where they're going out of the building because they're going home. So now they made it even more obvious by not only, like, if I say hi, they go, oh, hi, yeah, and just walk away. They now don't show up to our fucking musters, and that's really important. They're supposed to fucking do that. So why do they do that? Because I know I'm there. So I just basically ignore. The last meeting we had, there were supposed to be 18 people there. 3 of them fucking showed up. The rest didn't. So yes, this is an issue. This is an issue of a job that is basically supposed to be making pharmaceutical drugs for to save people's lives. But yet they act like they're fucking assholes. So hopefully that helps. I'm sorry for raising my voice, Matt, and to the other audience members, but this is what I take up with. And hasn't been just for a little bit of time. This has been for 3 years. It's gotten progressively worse. It wasn't bad at first, because I had a woman there that was a friend. She kept these people under control. She had issues with them in the past. But once she left, they made all their anguish on me. So technically, if you want to go that direction, it's been for the last 8 months of hell with these people. So here's the thing, though. Our company works with union contracts and union employees. Now, I'm sure I pissed off a lot of people, because I just said in one of the other shows, we have, and I don't want to back down from this, I will not back down, we got a bunch of crybabies. So anyway, these fucking crybabies now are now saying, now they would kill me for saying this if they actually heard me, that we're going to go out on strike when we have our next union contract. And it was like, you know what? Our company is trying to force people to do this. They want us so desperately to walk out and go on strike so they can bring in other people, because once we walk out that door of where I work, we're not coming back in. Our job is going to be done, or because my father went through this. He works where I still work. He said they did that years ago. This was back in the 80s. They walked out. They went on strike, the employees. They came back for a lot less money than what they originally were given. So the place I work is desperately just pushing people's buttons to the point that they will go out on strike. And once they get back in, if they get back in, they're going to be working for half of what they get now, maybe less than half. So, you know what? These people are so, I'm sorry, because I like some of these people, and some of these people I really look up to, like shop steward wise and other union employees. I really like put them on pedestals. But I hate to tell you, this is really, really stupid, and you're feeding right into what, you know, you're walking right into the lion's den, because that's exactly what our company wants us to do, is go out on strike. And the one thing they're fighting with our company right now, and this is not just my company, this is other places, and I will, justify this because I read this in other articles. A friend was bringing up, a guy at work was mentioning about this guy who is now, the company's getting sued for, I think, millions of dollars for this guy getting killed in from Bumblebee Tuna for getting locked into a pressure cooker, and he got cooked to death under extremely high steam pressured chamber, under a pressure chamber. This happened in 2012, and they said that the equipment was very faulty and was very outdated. Well, we have the same thing where I work. We're working with things that they literally buy. Our company buys parts off, and this is no joke. I've seen one of the boxes. They buy parts for the machinery off of eBay. I saw an eBay box one day. I was like, oh my God, this is no joke. They're actually Frankensteining and doctoring equipment that is so outdated that they no longer make the parts. The manufacturers no longer exist, and they are buying parts used on eBay to keep our company above, in business. And that's really bad. So, and that's the truth. That is the absolute truth. So these people, though, are complaining about, now the equipment is faulty. People have gotten seriously injured permanently for the rest of their life now. They may not ever be able to walk properly again. That is no joke. Now, there's another issue that's not in my building, but it is in a particular building where they're forcing people to mandatorily work 16-hour shifts and like pretty much 80 hours a week. Now, I said this before, if that is true, which in this one particular building where I work, it is absolutely true. Yes, labor relations will shut the place down because of that particular building. But there is a plethora of other buildings. These people are voluntarily trying to work as much overtime. They are not being forced upon it, and that's the part that bothers me. And I try to say, listen, if you need help on something, I will come in and help. I don't care, and it's not because of the money. It's because of the principle that you got these shitheads that will take your job away from you just because they are so money hungry. Now, the thing is, there is a woman, a friend of mine at work, she said she knows this one woman. She's only in her late 30s, so she's a kid to me. And this, she said, oh yeah, this one woman, she lives way above her means. She tries to keep up with the Joneses, and now she wants to buy. She's already in a lot of financial debt. She has a husband who's always out of work, and this is not the first person. I know a couple people that were women that they were friends of mine at work and where I worked in different buildings, and they had the most idiotic and complete deadbeat husbands, which I don't understand why I can't find a woman when you get these women flock to these shitheads. But this woman now wants to buy a $300,000 home. It's like, you may not even have a fucking job, but you want to buy a $300,000 home. And she's trying desperately to get as much overtime as she can because that's the only way she can keep up with, buying all this elaborate stuff. And I can see with the way the mentality rate of this younger generation of kids are too, because most of their parents work where I work at this company that pays way too much. And for instance, today I went over to the Wawa to get some money. And it's the one down in Oaks. And I was gotten 3 car accidents within 5 minutes, and they were all young girls driving brand new cars that they probably obviously couldn't afford themselves. So their parents are buying for them. And I'm sure their parents work at where I work, And these parents are basically killing themselves by working 80-hour weeks. Now, I'm not going to take away from the people that are forced. Those people that are forced to work 80 hours a week, those people have every right. You can basically walk out that door after your 8-hour shift, and if you get fired, you have a good lawsuit against you folks. That stuff should be addressed. That should be pushed with the company, and they should be penalized for that. But trust me, there's enough people that are not being forced to work this overtime, and I will say that again. And I got these other people who get pissed at me for saying this stuff, and they are the ones in my building who don't even work with me, working, this overtime and making me out to be the fucking bad guy when I'm not the person. So they move their desks. They literally are, they clutter, their desks are around each other like little forts, when you're doing your little kid. And they basically just chit-chat, they laugh real loud, they talk. I'll say hi to somebody, I'll wave at somebody. They turn their head and they walk the other way. So if that doesn't make any sense, the fact they moved their desk, you ask them something, they ignore you, they're very short and curt with you. Is there any other way I can explain how they were being an asshole to me? I hope to Matt that makes sense. That's why I wanted to do this show just dedicated to my friend Matt. So I hope that kind of explained, because I can leave in the voicemail, but I can't go as long as I can on an actual radio podcast. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Matt, especially, I hope that answered your question, because I know you listened to me. So thank you, Matt, for doing that, by the way. And I will throw that out again. The guy who was supposed to buy my older Mac, he hasn't answered my text. He hasn't answered my phone calls. He just completely blew me off at this point. So if anybody's interested, I will gladly sell you my old Apple that's not that old. It's very powerful. I was going to give it, I'm going to throw this out because he didn't answer me either, Matt. But Matt, if you actually wanted it, I would work out a deal, because I really think, for my friend Matt, this would be something, my old machine would be good for him. And I'm going to throw a plug out, not that it's going to do anything. My friend Matt, he has his own music company, by the way, or his own, he's a music teacher, and he's got people working for him. So I'm going to see if this works. Sorry, Matt, I'm going to look up your thing, because I forget your phone number. And you know what, I'll say it off the top of my head in my sleep, though. So bear with me, for those who listen to me. And I'm doing this because Matt's been the best supporter of me, and he really deserves this. Anyway, my friend's business is called Music Teacher Guy. And I would recommend, if you have any kids or you're interested in learning about music, you should check that out. Because Matt will come to your house or get somebody else to come to his house. His rates are really cheap. He's I think $25 for a half-hour lesson. It might even be less. It's something like that. Rates and policies. I'm going to look at Matt's rates and policies. Rates are $99 a month for weekly 30-minute lessons, and $199 per month for weekly 60-minute lessons. Now, the good thing about Matt, by the way, he doesn't make you sign any contract, which I'm really glad about. You're not going to get penalized if you decide, at the end of the month, you want to quit. That's fine. Matt will, work with you. He will get somebody else. He's got a good crew of people that work with him. He's right out of Norristown. And he can pretty much almost, and he's actually starting to trying to get into teaching people online through Skype lessons. So, that's Skype. If you go to, just push it under Google, don't look under Matt's stuff. Just look for musicteacherguy.com, and it says guitar lessons, piano lessons, and he does, I think, maybe some other stuff. If you needed to, Matt would find a way to find a teacher for you that would come to your house. So that's the great thing. You don't even have to go out to see the guy. He comes to you. So, and Matt's got a couple different web links, but if you want to call him, he's open. You can call him anytime, leave a voicemail at least. His phone number is 610-804-6968. That is 610-804-6968. There is a couple different school teachers around here. Music teachers. Personally, I'd have to say that Matt would probably be your best bet because some of the other ones, honestly, are not responsible. Matt, for the most part, yeah, he's very responsible and he takes his business very serious. So if you want to learn an instrument, guitar, piano, drums, that's the main stuff. I would definitely say check out musicteacherguy.com. That's my friend Matt. And I think he would appreciate it. And I think I would, obviously I would appreciate it too if you just knowing that you're listening to my show. Because that would be technically one of my sponsors, so to speak, by me mentioning this. No, he doesn't pay me. I don't pay him. But, the fact that we converse all the time, I know that, it's helping him out, that somebody from my show has contacted Matt for some type of music lessons. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that because I got a little long-winded on, me just losing my temper. And usually when I do that, I like to kind of calm down after that. So everyone, have a good night, good weekend, and I hope you enjoy my show. And please listen in again or ask other people to listen in. So I'd appreciate that. So have a good weekend. This is iWalter signing off for now.